I want to talk about be, do, have and setting up your be, do, have goals. I actually was just thinking about this again this morning and realized that for years I had a goal document that I would change every year or two. And I just found the one from 2008, so way back in the day. And and I was thinking about it this morning. So this is my current kind of list, and that is my previous thing. And I thought, you know what? I'm going back to pictures because I love the pictures. They kind of just, even if I don't look at this sheet, like I have these pictures in my mind. And when I was looking at it this morning, I was like, wow, pretty cool things. One, this is over 10 years ago. Actually, this has been a dream of mine for like 25 years. RV slash um, adventure bus kind of thing. I yeah, in seventh grade I got to go to Florida on a big bus with like 25 of us. We slept all over it. It was kind of cool. Then my wife and I bought a VW bus, and then we bought an RV and traveled around the country. But I want to have one now with like 12 bunks that lets me um, help people that are wanting to get into business, help train them, help look at businesses. So this was a goal of mine to impact 10,000 people a week for Christ. I had a website at the time called LeaderCast that I've since sold, and some student leadership stuff. And it's funny because I kind of went away from that for a number of years. We started something called Stop Slavery, and that kind of took a lot of my life for 5 years. But this has kind of come back. Like, yeah, I want to impact more people. So I'm going back to web, podcast, books, ways that I can broaden my reach. And it was really interesting to look at this. This is my family way back in the day on the beach. But just this Christmas, we went to Europe, and on the Thames River, River Thames, I guess they say, um, I actually like took a walk along the river in Oxford and talked to the guy who worked at the locks and just asked about, hey, what is it like to, have a boat? So someday I want to go, not live there, but someday I want to go up and down either in Paris or England, spend time on the river in a boat. This is crazy because this is a river, a river. This is a mountain. This is not a river. This is a mountain that my wife and I rafted by in Austria when we first met, back when I was in high school. And I'd forgotten that it was even on there. And this year I went, or actually last year now, I went, I was staying in the Alps in Germany, and I ended up one morning saying, hey, why don't I go to Austria for breakfast? And ended up seeing the river. I didn't even know that it was, I knew it was the same area, but wasn't conscious of it. Saw the river where we rafted, saw this mountain, and then my wife and kids and I in December went back and we saw it again from a distance. And then tons of our vacations we lived on an island for years, so we've always had the beach. But even like, this is one of my friends who followed me to Japan and now to Thailand and took over one of the ministries from me. And I was just thinking, oh yeah, I want to give generously to others. Like, maybe I should give them a gift in the near term. When I first started this sheet, my goal here was for my wife to get her master's and to help her to flourish. And then she got her master's, and then it was to help her get her doctorate. And then, so this is done, and I think she's flourishing. She has her doctorate. But right now, she doesn't have to work. She really loves working, but she does have to work so we can send our kids to college someday. So I would love to have a business that is providing for us in greater ways. And then just some of the other things that are important to me. We still want to have a facility at some point to help people become Christ-centered entrepreneurs. And over the last few years, my thinking has changed. Colleges are dropping like flies, small colleges. I thought, maybe one of these days we'll pick up a college. Instead of a retreat center, we'll have a university. So these are my current goals. I use something called Trello. I'll put a link at somewhere where you can get a trial for the gold. I don't use the gold version. Um, I don't even know what this star means. I guess those are starred things. But I just use a regular Trello board. Um, I did, when I had the gold version, I put a bunch of pictures. So this is one of my favorite valleys in Switzerland. It's called Lauterbrunnen, little village there. All these waterfalls coming down like 3,000 feet. Some of them actually don't even hit the ground. They just turn to mist. Great place. You should visit it at some point in your life. But when I was thinking this morning about these be, do, have goals, like the first category is who do you want to be? And for me, it's a person of influence who lives for eternity, a disciple maker, great husband, father, and friend. Why don't I just combine these? I love having friends, so I want to be a good one. Launcher of Christian-led businesses, parasite-free. I won't tell you why I like having this goal, but I'll just tell you it's way better to be parasite-free than parasite-full. In shape, healthy, high energy, man of integrity who finishes well. An author, friend of the king. The name Buddy means winner and friend of the king. So, and then do goals. I spend more of my time thinking about my be goals. Next part of my time thinking about my do goals, and then the last would definitely be the have goals. I mean, I think about those things, but for me, they're definitely third in priority. So what do I want to do? I want to help others discover their life purpose, achieve their God-given dreams. I want to take great vacations, pay for college for my kids, make disciples, encourage others well. And some of these things have more in them. Like you see this little dot, like, so one day I was like, okay, I want to be a person of influence who lives for eternity. How do I do that? So I continue to read, put my value out there for others, offer opportunities to speak, train, and facilitate, write a book, start my podcast, control my frustration. Now, this goes back to the people that frustrate me the most: selfish, lazy, and ballless leaders, which I have no idea why, but those people seem to float to the top with too frequent regularity. Be a person who influences others toward kingdom living, keep getting trained in personality tests. And then, so some of these things have more in them about how to go about that. I want to buy my kids their first car and their first house. And then what do I want to do? I want to have lots of time to think, read, and regular breaks from everyday life. I always vacillate from, like, the last couple weeks there have been a couple different extra projects I've been involved in, ways that we're trying to influence. And so I've just been going too hard, but I've also had some breaks in the middle. It's something that I'm working towards. Business that supports us while giving us freedom. Anyway, you can read down here some of my things. BMW Z4. I borrowed a friend's Z3 once, and I was like, this is nice. I like riding around with the top down. And just something like, I mean, if I never have a BMW Z4, it's not going to be the end of my world. But if I have money, it's something I want to have one day. My wife abhors this goal, but I want a young couple that we can mentor that can be an assistant, driver, cook, things like that, just so that we can focus on providing value, adding value to others. No debt. One point we were in a huge amount of debt, so that was 2 years ago. Nice to be out of that. And just some of the other things I want. Super fast laptop with 3 27-inch monitors. Want to have great friends, great relationship with my kids, great relationships with those that I disciple. And then a place for CO Shortcut. I used to have on here a campus. I'm not exactly sure exactly what I want. Do I want a small place for CEO Shortcut in the future where 10, 12 people come live with us a year to grow in the Lord and grow in business? Or do I want to have a campus where 1,000 people come and get trained each year? So I've had those on my goal list and then I've taken them off. One of the things that I decided today was I wanted to have pictures on these things. So I'm going to start doing that. This is a place on Lake Bled in Slovenia that is just an Airbnb place on the lake, looking out over this beautiful little church in the middle on an island in the middle of the lake. And I'm like, yeah, I want to go there someday. Maybe that's a writing retreat. Maybe that's a time with my wife. Maybe our kids. Who knows? I also want to pay for college for my kids. And secretly, I want to buy this college when it fails. So I've been watching their financials, and every year they're going $1 million more in debt. Someday I hope to buy that place. And yeah, so I'm going to put pictures on these things. Like this is an easy one to grab a picture for. Used BMW Z4. I'm a huge believer in used vehicles. Ever since I bought a brand new vehicle, my first for my first car, and then at the same time, my father-in-law bought a used vehicle that was 4 years older for 1/4 of the cost, and they ended up lasting about the same time, and his was a much better deal. So if I want I want a soft top, not a good enough picture. So BMW Z4 soft top. Let's see what comes out. What color do I want? I think everything blue is definitely my favorite. So here we go. I like water and the ocean too. So let's say BMW Z Ocean. Get it a lot of different colors. Anyway, you know how to find images on Google. You don't need to. European license plate like Europe, but I actually want to move back to America someday. So here we go. We'll just take this image. So I'm going to take this image and save it, and then I will upload it. I want a BMW Z4 or something nicer. Let me put an attachment on here. And there we go. So anyway, I think it's really helpful to have be-do have goals. There's mine. Use Trello or a document. Now that I've gone a couple years without having pictures, I'm like, I want pictures again. So I'll be adding those in. Hope this helps.